What's up to our sidekicks and henchmoke? Henchmoke? My
Take 5.
Henchjamokes. What's up to our sidekicks and henchjamokes?
Hey. What's up?
What's up to our sidekicks and henchmen out there in the Geek Nation? Welcome to the Turkey-tastic CultPop podcast, episode 104. One of the longest running comic book and pop culture podcasts out there, where we talk about movies and comics and TV and wet and dry puppet horror and all the other things that scratch your dirty, nerdy little itches.
It's both wet
We're
and
coming
dry.
to you live-ish from Young Junk HQ, a bomb-ass podcast production space here in Manayunk, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm your host, JD of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex. It's a rad-ass comic shop. Come buy my stuff. With me tonight to talk is Noel.
Hey!
You're doing so good. And Alice.
Hey!
It's me.
Also in the booth is our trusty producer, Dylan.
Ew.
Hey, Dylan, if people want your services, what they do?
Just make guttural noises. So every response is like, hey, whoa, hey,
Worm, worm, worm.
oh no.
Well, if
Oh, yeah.
my services and guttural noises you're looking for, then look no further than the bottom of your screen, and there you will find an
Dun-dun-dun.
email, and that email will lead to me.
Does.
And
Missed it.
let's start a podcast together.
I'm
We're looking
gonna-
for more people to join the Young Chunk family, like these fine folks in front of
Oh,
you.
we're a family.
Because when you're here
Your family.
Family.
and there's
Fucking
breadsticks.
I've heard that
And-
before. Where's that from?
I
Want some
love
breadsticks
those
right now, right?
breadsticks. You know, it's either the Olive Garden breadsticks or the cheesy biscuits from Red Lobster. I could eat those all day long.
Breadsticks.
Oh, I was gonna say breadsticks. Should there be a tier list for this eventually?
Yeah.
Yes,
Should be
all
a
the
bracket.
different, all the
bracket
different
and
table
tier
breads.
Bracket for carbs.
A carb bracket. Oof, magoof.
So hey, welcome. You're here to join us in celebrating Thanksgiving by reviewing two modern classics in the what the fuck did I just watch genre, Thankskilling, and then Thankskilling 3. But before we do all that, a gentle reminder that we're here live. If you're here live, feel free to email us, comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that what have you. We love a little back and forth, so pipe up in the chat and or send us emails at cultpopgo@gmail.com. And even if this isn't, you're not watching it live, you're watching it later, maybe you're in the bath, you've lit some candles, you've suds up the water, and you're just having a soak, and you're watching us, you could still email us or get in the chat.
Don't do it from like a.
I guess it wouldn't be the chat; it would be the comment.
Well, yeah, but don't if you're in the tub, don't waterlog your device or electrocute and die, because I presume people bring their desktops into the bathroom.
Yeah, like the tower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like extension cords that long in a wet bath. Just be safe. Is all I'm saying. Be safe. Be safe.
Okay. That was the intro, and I think we did pretty good.
10 out of 10.
We did pretty good. So now we're going to move on to the second portion of the show that I call What's Poppin', which is when I ask my friends, Noel
Hi.
and Alice, what's been popping for them this week. Hey, Noel,
Yeah.
you're first up. What was popping for you this week?
I want to complain about something again.
Do it.
2 weeks in a row,
do it,
baby.
do it.
Boom, 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 boom. Actually, I have
Grind your gears?
a question for you guys.
Be in your bonnet.
Bonnet full of bees.
Is a bonnet full of bees. Bartocci's bonnet full of bees.
Oh, my God.
Oh my God.
Yes.
have
Bartocci's
Bartocci.
bonnet full of bees. That's the new
Alice's
segment.
angry arms. you need something.
I'll get there. You have a question.
Do you guys ever read reviews? Do you enjoy reviews?
Do I watch them or do I read them?
I don't fucking care. Do you engage in reviews?
Yes.
Sometimes.
What's your relationship like with reviewed content, with critics?
If I go on Rotten Tomatoes and I'm looking at reviews, I actually tend to look more at the audience, like what they have to say. And
Interesting.
I will read the critic reviews. It depends on what it is, I guess. If it's something I'm going to see no matter what, like if it's a Scream movie, I'm not going to read the reviews. I'm going to see that
I feel
regardless.
like that shit's review or critic proof in general. Like,
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not bothering with reviews on that.
I don't read many reviews anymore. I mostly just listen to like the film cast and iFanboy. So like those are reviews.
Yeah.
I
And
listen to those a lot.
Those are two excellent examples of people that don't just shit or hype. They explain why they feel a certain way and what does and doesn't work for them.
Before I was on this podcast, I very much enjoyed listening to this podcast. And then I weaseled my way on here.
It was a full weasel.
I was.
Crawled like the Exorcist.
My sister literally asked how I did it.
Weasel twice. I mean, you were asked.
Well, she
about
she
it.
came to visit, and I took her to JD's shop, and we were all chatting and everything, and we were leaving, and she goes, "So how did you go from being one of JD's customers to like a friend, and then you're on his podcast now?" I was like, I just snuck my way in. I guess I just weaseled my way into all of that.
I mean, the question had the answer. I went from going to the shop to being friends to being on the podcast.
I just kept showing up.
That's like asking the question, like, so how did you and Costa go from like not knowing each other to then knowing, then meeting, and then like spending time together, and then falling in love, and then like getting engaged? Like, how did it even happen?
How did this,
I don't know.
What's the series of steps there?
How did the ingredients go from my fridge to the stove to the oven
become
and then
chili.
to a plate? How did that
To
work?
my gullet.
And it's like you just described it.
I just showed up,
You just like
and they liked me.
So like I am having a lot of conversations, and by conversations I mean arguments online about how to engage with content and how to do it responsibly or how to do it irresponsibly. I feel like everyone that has a platform, at least it feels like actual criticism is dying.
Yeah.
And it's being replaced by just hyperbolic bullshit or armchair quarterbacking content you don't like or get, as opposed
Also
to like
death threats
death threats and like
just online harassment.
it feels like it's just gone. And I mourn that a little bit. Like I used to love reading reviews and actually like you kind of find out which critics kind of speak to your taste a little bit and whose don't and compare the two and kind of like meet it halfway. And you'd have different rules for different types of content. Like if I'm going to see a horror movie, if I'm going to see like the sixth Jason movie, I know that Roger Ebert's not going to really vibe with that movie. So I'm not going to look to him, but I will look at that forum that like loves this stuff.
Dread Central.
Yeah. So like
Disgusting.
it's film critique and show critique and stuff, I think is like a valuable thing. Someone on my social media posted a clip. Wicked's coming out. I think it's out now when you're watching this, and we'll review it in a couple of weeks. But Wicked's coming out, and it's the most popular thing that's happening right now. Like everyone is into this movie,
It's cool.
which
I
is
like
great.
when that happens, though.
No, it's wonderful.
Like the zeitgeist.
But there's also like a contingent of fan that is very, very defensive about it, and that didn't know it's two movies.
Right.
It's being advertised as one, but it's a two-parter. So there's somebody shared a clip of a New York critic kind of talking about the movie, saying they felt that the pacing was terrible. And then the critic goes on to prescribe what they would have cut from the movie to make it better. To me,
Is that a thing that critics usually do?
no, I think that's completely out of pocket.
Right.
For professional imprint to fix a movie is totally out of pocket. That's not your job. Like he crossed over the line after, like if it didn't work for him, if the pacing was off, if he wished it was less padded and shorter, great. That is valid. As soon as you cross the line to, I'm going to make your art different and better, that's out of pocket. That's not accepted. But then that turned into a larger conversation of everyone being very, very defensive about, you didn't know that this was two movies. That guy's a fucking idiot because he didn't know that it was two movies and he should have known that. And all that stuff that he's complaining about is going to come into play in the second movie. And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, everybody, there's nuance here. It's fair to feel unsatisfied by a piece of content. And meet that halfway and describe what it is. It's not fair for him to prescribe what you should have done. But also, I shouldn't, like, I think the original comment was, this is a perfect example of somebody not understanding what
Source material?
not understanding a source material, which kind of put a bee in my bonnet of, I shouldn't have to do homework for a movie.
Right.
It should all be there in context. We've had this conversation about like, hey, the novelization explains this thing. Cool. Put it in the movie because that's the primary source, right? I'm going to see a movie. And then everybody was just like, yo, it's two parts, meet it halfway. I was like, Well, I mean, that just makes it $1 billion TV show.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a TV show; it's a movie. Yeah. But it was just like, I don't know. It made me think about critique in general.
Yeah.
How, like, is it even possible anymore to really opine and talk about how things are made and put together and intention, and or is it just fucking noise and being defensive about like your favorite stuff and then everyone sucks?
I mean, this is every fandom these days. Every fandom, like Star Wars fans think that the Star Wars fandom is the worst. I'm sure the Wicked fandom thinks that the Wicked fandom is the worst. It's just something that online engagement has given us.
Yeah.
I think you can seek out, like I'm currently enjoying YouTube channels that will go into sort of the meaning behind films and the camera work and the choices that are made and all that sort of stuff. Like I find that sort of stuff fascinating. But I think everyone talking about platforms, everyone has one now, right? Like
everybody.
There's us doing this, and then there's just people online who are just writing as fast as they can and hating things as quickly as they can and the loudest. And I think the negativity is rewarded. We all know that. We all know that it's not. I'm not saying anything crazy. The negativity online is rewarded, and that gets the most clicks and the most engagement. And everyone tries to do that the loudest and the fastest. And I find it to be exhausting.
Well, I think there's
you got to seek out the avenues that you appreciate.
There, like you about platforms too. Like there's a sense of we should always be striving to earn the platform we have. Yeah. We are not entitled to everyone hearing and knowing our platform or engaging with our platform. Sure. And I think that because there's not only does everyone have a platform, everyone has 6 or 7 different platforms. There's I don't know, is this like even professional critics are falling for it. The idea of like this perpetual main character syndrome of I need to be first, fast, and harsh in order to gain traction, as opposed to my job being how do I earn my platform, not fucking increase it, right? And it's grating. And you can't have a conversation about like, hey, this reviewer, this critic, fair, not fair, because it's binary. It has to be like you hate it all or you don't hate any of it. Like
you're either the smartest or the dumbest.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to love reading critics. Now it's like it's few and far between.
Let me ask you this: do the critics that you used to love reading, are they falling into that same trap, or are they not critics anymore? Like, are these newer critics that you're not used to, and now they're engaging in this sort of behavior, or is like even the ones you used to respect have sort of went down the hill?
Wow, that's a good question. I don't. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Sure.
Couple of my favorites have died because I'm old.
Yeah.
And they were old when I was a baby, so they're gone. A couple I have seen turn to be more salacious and more spiteful. Even the critics with the tiny C's, with lowercase C's, we've literally watched in real time get spiteful and shitty, like the Halloweenies. They used to be very, very much in love with synergistic content. Now they're spiteful about it because it's just a lot of shit that they don't like. Yeah. And I think that is a pendulum swing in the wrong direction. Like, engage with content that you enjoy and meet it where it's at, not it's got capes in it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I hate this.
Yeah.
Like that's and there's a lot of like
it played in a Cineplex.
Yeah, there's a lot of critics. There's a lot of like professional critics who I think do have fallen down that rabbit hole of just being like professional haters or elitist snoots, as opposed to like we should be able to find artistry in these fucking Thanksgiving killing movies. Yeah. And we will, and we do, because we're meeting the content where it is, instead of just being like, I would never submit myself to that garbage.
Right.
Like it's come on. Yeah.
Whether or not we enjoyed it.
Yeah. And if we didn't enjoy it, you can explain why you didn't enjoy it. You can talk
hopefully.
You can talk to it. Like it's not a plus minus. It's a conversation.
I also wonder, some of these critics that you're talking about, big C critics, not little C critics, where it may be that they are just becoming jaded.
Very much.
There's people in the comic book industry who are just jaded. Like even just retailers. Like my job as a retailer. I know I'm in a bunch of retailer groups, and there are a bunch of retailers out there, and I'm just like, why do you own a store? Everything is negative. Like every single release you hate. Every decision made by publishers you hate. Everything's going down the tubes all the time. Like, just why are you doing this? Just do something else. You're clearly miserable.
Just tap out.
And I wonder if that's sort of like,
I'm sure
I may also be proud of it.
I'm sure that's a part of it. Yeah. Because we see it too. We see the seams, like the fact that a 3-hour musical needs to be 2 3-hour movies doesn't make any sense other than stretching it out for monetary reasons by a studio.
Yeah.
That is a reality. And
The Hobbit.
The Hobbit needed to be 3 fucking movies.
Couldn't believe it.
When the book itself is actually only like 250 pages.
It's like a novella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's that. So like if you've spent 20, 30 years of your career witnessing this kind of like removal or diminishing of artistry and talent in turn to profit. It was always about profit, but there was at least an era of we give a shit. Now it's we need to make some shit. Like it's just churning out content. And last week when we talked about streaming, like if there's anything good about it, it at least provides an avenue for people that want to make anything other than 4-quadrant superhero movies that cost $250 billion.
More indie for sure.
Yeah. So like if I had spent 30 years of my career witnessing that slow decline, I'd probably be really fucking jaded too. But maybe that means you need to switch it up as opposed to just become a spiteful, shitty person.
Or just look for the things that you do like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And they're inundated. They have to watch like 4 to 5 movies a week.
Ugh,
and like you just like
exhausting.
And that's you go into theaters, you're doing this, you're writing in between like it. I mean, it could be a bit of a grind with minimal reward.
I mean,
but
we read a ton of comics every week.
Yeah, and sometimes
I don't really find that exhausting though.
Sometimes it's a grind.
I find having to do it by a certain time.
That's a grind.
Like, oh my God, I gotta get through.
I mean, it's different. The like, oh, I'm gonna watch 5 movies this week. Woo! Every single movie I watch has a deadline of 500 words that's due within 48 hours of the next one, and they're overlapping on top of each other to fit in time to watch the movie that I have to. Like, it's a grind. Yeah. Like, it's not coal mining, but it's it's a grind.
Alice, what is your experience online? You don't really usually speak to this. He and I am trying to get much better at it. I instead of getting online and going on and having arguments with idiots, I will play Marvel Snap on my phone for way too long.
Oh yeah,
but like, what do you engage? Do you ever get in arguments online or? You've deleted your Facebook.
I did off my phone.
Bravo.
Not like my account, so I can still log in, but I don't as much anymore because it was raising my blood pressure.
Right.
Yeah, I don't.
Dylan was just in the background going,
specifically Facebook. Yes.
Yeah.
Twitter's the worst.
I don't
They're both Nazi
read comments usually
Wow.
on our stuff.
I'm trying to get better at it.
I'm just nervous.
Yeah.
I'm nervous that I'd get my feelings hurt, and I would just like.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you mean for the podcast?
Oh yeah, for anything.
Oh,
well, no,
comments.
and I try not to read comments on certain other things because I know I'm gonna wanna fight.
Yeah.
Or like
If
if
I
something
see
that I love, I'm gonna get defensive over
Yeah.
it, and I'm like, no, I don't need
gonna
to
back
engage
off.
with them. I can like this, and they cannot like
Good
it, and
for
I'm just
you.
gonna.
Oh, I love
I try
this.
not to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like,
For you.
Yeah.
and then there's other people that I really just want to fight with online.
just wanna fight with you.
And then
I think there's something slightly cathartic about it. Like if it's
Oh,
something,
of course.
if there's something, if it's a righteous belief, I don't mean being righteous. It's just a righteous belief of someone's approaching something you love with on its face bad faith.
Yeah.
Like all the stuff with James Gunn being a liar because he didn't tell you everything he was planning for the next 10 years. So he's a fucking liar. You're like, bro.
Yeah. You're just mad because Snyder's gone.
You're
Relax.
just, well, I mean, it's their job to be mad.
Yeah.
And it's like that I find cathartic to be like, you're a baby.
You're a baby.
But when it's like real important things like, rights, I don't engage anymore. All those people are garbage.
what was I gonna say? I listened to an interesting podcast. It'd be really cool if I can remember the name of it. But it was basically about so I'm a Twilight fan, and I know it's bad. Oh, yeah. My pet peeve is people who will tell me how much Twilight sucks when they've never seen it, never read it.
No.
And I'm like,
Yeah, I've been there.
what? They'll be like, Twilight sucks. And they're like, what? I'm like, okay, yeah. What sucks about it? And they're like, oh, it's just for teenage girls. I'm like, see, that's my problem with you. Is like, I know it sucks because I've read it and I know about it and I know what parts are bad. But there's an interesting podcast about Twilight fans, and it was just so good and so well researched about how Twilight fans saw how problematic the Twilight series was, and they're doing stuff about it. Like, they're raising money for the Quileute tribe that was just like Stephanie Meyer was just making money off of them and not like giving any of the profits to them to help them with their reservation.
Cool.
And like, so it's
not
like
the Stephanie Meyer part.
yeah, but it was basically like Twilight fans know like what's wrong with the franchise that they like, and they do stuff about it. And it was really interesting in how like they don't let like critiques like ruin their thing that they love, even though they recognize the wrong in it, and they like they do. And it was just interesting take on like critics of Twilight versus like the fans of Twilight who can like acknowledge the criticism and do more with it. And it was cool. It was really cool.
People are trying to take back Harry Potter in that same way, but I don't think it's working.
No. Unfortunately, I was always most of a big Harry Potter fan, and then I'm just like,
what a
doesn't.
bummer. Every time I go into like Barnes and Noble and there's that whole Harry Potter section, I'm like, man.
There was more stuff that came out today about it. Yeah.
About it or her?
Her and the show that they're making.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm sure.
Yeah. It's fine. But my sister and my father, huge Twilight fans.
Yeah.
Read the books, watched. He just became obsessed with it. It was something that they did together.
I love that.
Meanwhile, she was deep in her 40s, and he's like a 60-year-old man.
That's awesome.
Or into her 40s. But I rejected it. Never watched them. I watched like clips here and there. I'd watch it.
Yeah.
We should do it eventually.
Oh my god.
Oh,
don't
a
tease
podcast? Me.
Yeah. I'd watch. I'd give it a shot because like there are things like going to like I was. It was after college, but I tried reading it. There are things specifically that I really didn't like.
It's not well written.
Her style of writing is fucking trash.
It's awful.
Also,
talk about reviews. Fucking trash.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, it's.
Or is it garbage?
Did I eat it up? Yeah, I ate that shit up when I was 15.
It's trashy and it's very inarticulate. Also, like the way that the plot progresses, it's like instead of it being intentional, it's what works here, this.
Yeah.
Like just the fact that all the vampires have different abilities that just so happen to function for the plot in that one moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I get it. It's a romance novel. That's fine. And then when the movies were coming out, didn't know much about Kristen Stewart, so it was just like. All I know is that she breathes out of her mouth a lot. Yeah.
That's the character.
I don't really know.
Like that's Bella. She like Kristen Stewart gets slandered for that role. I'm like, she's being Bella.
That's and then also too like all of the side conversations about how shitty Bella is and no one actually likes her. And I'm
Bella
like,
does have a little more personality in the books, but like she's playing Bella the way they told her to play.
Outsider looking in.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got nothing against them. It wasn't like a hey, don't watch these or support these. They're shit. It was more like. I don't get it.
Yeah, and that I respect. Like more, I just had so many people throughout my teen years, and even like well into my adult life when I would still just talk about Twilight.
An easy target.
Yeah, and I'm just like, why?
Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Like the pictures, it's definitely an easy target without context.
Yeah,
it's memed still to this day.
If you're serious about doing Twilight,
I'm absolutely serious. I'll watch
we'll do that.
I will. The most opened of minds. Like I want to have a good time.
I have a treat.
Openings.
You treat them?
I've seen the midnight openings for all of them. Back
when
they
same.
did midnight. Sushan and I would go with our friend Becky because she was a big Harry Potter fan and a big Twilight fan. And so I believe I read the Harry Potter books and read the Twilight books just because Becky loved them so much. Mm-hmm. And then we would go and get the midnight movies and stand in line and go see all of them. Because
I
it was
bought
like a
the
thing
last
to
book
do.
the day it came out. I was like at Barnes & Noble.
That's cute.
Yeah. I still have my 10th grade book report that I wrote about Twilight.
You're bringing it in for the show.
That's my treat. If we do it, I will bring it on the show.
Oh, fuck yes.
I got 100 on it. Probably.
I got 100 on it.
That was such a fucking flex.
I got 100 on it.
Everybody.
It was like, that was a straight A, bitch.
Yeah.
There weren't enough
It was
points
my summer reading book.
Teacher said they wish they could give me more points.
I am absolutely
the next person she read. The next book report got an A.
You
That's
should
how
write the
fucking
next
good
novel.
my
That's how good it
I'm
was.
so convinced I wrote so much. I'm so convinced she just didn't want to read it. And she just was like, she read like a little bit of it and was like,
All right,
she gets what
it.
reading. Because it was my summer reading book. So it was like, write a short answer for this, write a short answer for this, write a short answer for this. They called it a book report, but it was really just short answer questions. And like, I filled up the lines and then some. Like, I kept going on the sides of the page. And I guarantee it. She's like, does she know what a setting is? Yep. Okay. I'm not reading this.
It was a college course.
This is college. She probably just like
10th
proved
grade.
it for grammar.
10th
Like,
grade.
I don't give a shit about this. This
She
period.
didn't. There's no notes. It just says 100. She definitely just didn't even read it.
You
She's
tried.
Like, this is
Yeah.
Funny.
You did your summer reading. Great.
You know,
100.
we're gonna next year. We're doing a special series. Maybe we'll try and find time for Twilights. Man, I'll do it. I'll watch them.
Hey, Alice. Hey. What was popping for you this week?
I have been rewatching my favorite comfort show lately, which is Bob's Burgers. And particularly, I've been going back and watching all of the Thanksgiving episodes.
Same.
Do you do
They're
it
so good.
I know.
annually?
Yeah,
Yeah.
annually.
Yeah.
Like whenever, and if that show's on casually and like a holiday episode comes on,
yeah.
like I skip it. And my girlfriend's like, why? I'm like, it makes it special to watch them.
Yeah,
around
you
the
have to watch
holiday."
it on the
Yeah.
holiday.
That's cute.
Yeah. It's, oh my God, they're so good. I love that show so much. It's just it's so funny and so comforting and so well written. And oh my God. Dylan, what's your favorite Thanksgiving episode?
I really like the one where the sleepwalking one.
That's my favorite one too.
So
The
good.
Turkey in the toilet.
yeah. I really like that one.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh my God.
I
I've
love
not watched the whole show. I've only watched like, maybe
my
a
favorite
season.
bit is that like he has to keep going and buying new turkey.
And the guy is like, oh.
The guy's like,
And he thinks
like-
he's hitting on him.
yeah, he's like, oh my God, we're doing
this. I'll run away with you. And he's like, no, I don't think so. You're out of my league anyway. And he like runs out of the store.
Oh my God, I did see this.
Yeah.
I did see this.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then
Fun.
we just watched the first Thanksgiving episode last night, which is the one with Linda's song, Pass the Cranberry Sauce. They're making mashed potato.
Mashed potato.
I sing that all the time. I also
Thank you for loving me. Thank you for being there.
They're just feel good shows when you need a feel good show.
Yeah,
And
right
they're
on.
just so good.
Dylan, what's your other feel good show?
I have a couple. That one, Arrested Development's not
Yeah,
really
man.
good. I
First three seasons.
yeah, and I'll even dip into the Netflix season because there are some gems in there
Yeah.
because the way that they just sort of like snowball on like old jokes and stuff like
Yeah.
that whole show just feels like an inside joke.
Especially that fourth season, the Netflix season.
Yeah,
The first
yeah.
Netflix season, the second Netflix season was very weird. But like
Yeah, I do like Gay Job though in the fifth season.
they lean into the fact that actors aren't in the same room. Like
yes,
it's
the
part of a
the
joke
Lindsay.
that
Yeah,
everything is
exactly
fucking off the rails.
Yeah,
And I was just
yeah.
like, I kind of it doesn't always work, but I definitely kind of respect it. Or an actor will disappear for 6 fucking episodes, or you only see the back of their head. Like they did it. It's like they didn't really try and hide it, and that became the funny. And I was
It was like
I
obvious.
just found
green
I've
screen.
tried it multiple times because I love 1 through 3 so much
Mm-hmm.
that I was like, I remember we were on vacation with our friends at Fugfas, and the day that the new season on Netflix dropped, season 4, we all just sat there on vacation and watched it, and then we were all kind of like, oh, that was okay, I guess. So I've gone back multiple times to watch it, and each time I'm just like, this is kind of boring. It doesn't feel the same. Also love The Office. That's a good
Yeah.
rewatch. Yeah.
So going back to last week, things that I avoid because everyone hypes them up so much. I watched all of The Office and I enjoyed it
Ah,
once.
Oh, don't.
that's all you need.
Oh
But
yeah,
it's fun to rewatch. I mean,
I mean,
don't have to.
there's so much content out there. The fact that I don't know how often you rewatch it,
Yeah.
but I know people who have rewatched the entire series like 8 or 9
multiple
times,
Yeah.
and it's like, that's
I don't
that's
go
a,
from like
that's a lot.
jump all the way through.
Oh, no,
I'll
like,
pick and choose my favorite.
They plop all the way through.
Yeah, no, I
Like,
don't
I
do
wonder
that.
if it's like while they're doing stuff.
They'll quote it to me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know the script for season 7, episode 4. I just don't.
What if I just started quoting it? I was genuinely trying.
Some
to
of it
think,
I
like,
get, some of it I wouldn't. Same with Seinfeld, loved it, and now it's okay.
It's gone.
Friends, loved it, it's okay. Like
Friends, I haven't
never
rewatched.
liked Friends.
it's of its time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't really hold
never
up. And
spoken
also I don't think Seinfeld holds up either.
Yeah.
No.
Fair enough.
You know what does? Bob's Burgers.
Bob's
Yeah,
Burgers.
yeah.
Well, you know what Office kind of does too, because it's very evergreen. It's not really about a time frame. It's about randos. Whereas Seinfeld is very much of a time frame. Friends is of a time frame. Yeah. Anyway.
So I've been watching The
Yeah.
Diplomat.
What's popping with you?
The Diplomat on Netflix, and that is starring
Harry Russell.
Carrie Russell, who I mistook for the Noxzema girl. She was not the Noxzema girl.
No, that's I know her name. Just keep talking.
From
It's Alexis something.
what's she in Urban Legend?
She was in Urban Legend. She was also in 90210.
Yeah.
I got it. Keep talking.
But looking back, because I was like, that's got to be her. Looking back at Carrie Russell, she had the same hair. She
Rebecca
had that big,
Gayheart.
crazy hair. Anyway, The Diplomat is a show in the midst of an international crisis. Kate Weiler, a career diplomat, that's the title of the show, lands in a high-profile job for which she is not suited, with tectonic implications for her marriage and her political future.
What was that?
Tectonic. This is Deborah Kahn. Is that her name?
Sure.
From West Wing, Homeland, and Grey's Anatomy. So she produced all of those shows, and now she is the showrunner of this show. And I had just kind of heard that it was good enough that I was like, well, we're looking for something new to watch. Let's watch that. Because we're also watching Shrinking. It's like, oh, this episode of Shrinking's done. Let's find something else. And so we decided on The Diplomat on Netflix. Carrie Russell, say his name for me.
Rufus Sewell.
Rufus Sewell, and Ali Ahn, who was in Agatha all along. So yeah, this is just such a tight, charming, really well crafted political drama. It's mostly drama with a slight D at the end. Because there are some really funny bits.
And it's tragedy, not comedy. I know you're
that's
thinking
right,
it's funny.
It's
It's just
tragic.
really harsh.
It's real.
It's drama tragedy. Dramagedy. Dramedy.
Yep.
And it's really, really good. I really was impressed with it. And it does not seem like a show that I would be particularly interested in. It's in the weeds with some politics. And I'm like, I don't know if I care about, this is wonderful. Like halfway through the thought, they'll say something really funny and insightful. And the relationship between Carrie Russell and Rufus Sewell's, they're married, and their relationship is so nuanced and weird and interesting, and she kind of hates him, and you don't understand why, but then through the show you start to understand why, but then also they are constantly drawn back to each other. It's just really well done. Have you guys seen The Diplomat at all?
It's on the list.
We blew through season 1, and we just started season 2, which is still coming out in weekly episodes.
Netflix is doing weekly.
I think so.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really, really well done. If you haven't given it a shot, I highly recommend it. Did either of you watch The Americans, also starring Carrie Russell?
I watched some of the first season when it was on
Pieces
FX.
of it.
Yeah.
I didn't stick with it.
No, I didn't stick with it. It was.
Huh.
I think I was in college, and I just didn't have a lot.
I kind of want to go back
Yeah.
and watch it because Carrie Russell's so good in this.
I did watch Man in the High Castle with Rufus Sewell, and that sucked.
Everyone was talking about that show. It wasn't good.
I mean,
Everyone loved that show.
it shits the bed so fucking hard.
That
It makes the
one-
first season terrible.
What if Nazis won?
Nazis
it,
won.
it retroactively ruins the good episodes because it's such a bad last
Like,
season.
how many seasons are there?
4, 5, 12.
Could you just watch one?
4 or 5.
I mean, if you're okay with never having answers,
Oh, then no.
Yes.
Okay, no. All right. So anyway, that's what we've been up to this week. Let's move on to our main review, which is
awesome.
Wet puppets.
And dry ones. Some
And
of them
dry ones.
aren't lubricated.
Thankskilling from 2008. It has a whopping 42% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Pretty fucking high. That's higher than Borderlands.
It's
Oh my god.
no, it's not.
Yeah, oh
It
yeah.
was 9%.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
The audience
yeah.
score was in the 50s,
That's
but
ridiculous.
critic was 9%.
Directed by
baby.
Jordan Downey, written by Jordan Downey, Brad Scholes, and Kevin Stewart.
3 writers for this bitch.
Starring Wanda Lust, Natasha Cordova, and Lindsay Anderson. It's about a homicidal turkey axes off college kids during Thanksgiving break. That's
it.
That's
Wanda
it. That's
Lust.
the whole plot.
One scene.
Who was she?
The beginning.
She was
She's
the
the
nice
pilgrim?
titch bitch.
Yeah, nice tits, bitch.
So if you're curious about what this movie is,
Don't be.
it is about
No, do. I say do. I say yeah. Be
it is
curious.
a puppet turkey
Yep.
that wisecracks, I guess. Wisecracks, it talks.
I don't know why you're
And
you're ruining the illusion. It's a turkey.
axe murders people.
Puppet turkey. It's a
And
turkey.
the very first,
He can also hold a gun.
I want to say the very
He can
first-
articulate with the feathers. Yeah.
Is the very first dialogue in the first movie nice tits bitch?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Yeah.
And the second film in the trilogy is nice tits bitch in space. Yeah.
Yeah, which was actually pretty funny. But like it's as soon as that starts, I was like, oh, this is what we're doing. All right, cool.
Yep.
Because I didn't know anything about this going in, other than it was about a turkey, right? A murder turkey.
His name is Turkey.
His name is Turkey with an IE.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was a big fan of a similar style film called Jack Frost, which is a Christmas horror comedy about a killer snowman. A gentleman is being a prisoner is being taken to death row when his transport crashes into radioactive waste and melts him to become a snowman.
Classic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with 1998's Jack Frost, which is Michael
Starring
Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
As a man died on the road and came back as a snowman.
By like
to-
a
whimsical
snowplow or
snowman.
something like that.
yeah, he was a musician
Yeah.
who died on the road by a snowplow and
Yeah.
then came
Yeah.
back to see his family as
Yeah.
a snowman.
Oh wow.
Wouldn't you do the same?
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
I
So
mean, yeah.
I kind of was hoping it would be like that. This
No
movie for me was not much like that. I watched it in two chunks. The first chunk I watched with my eyes firmly rolled into the back of my skull.
72 minutes long.
It's just over an hour.
It's an
Yeah.
hour and 10 minutes long.
Still too long.
It does feel
It did
and then
feel long.
and then I go to the gym with Noel and we have a conversation about it. And you start to tell me some of the gags, and I'm like, you know what? When you tell me the gags, they're much funnier than when they're in the movie. So I went back and watched the end of the film, and it does get better as it goes.
Hang
I
on.
will say.
The conversation was, you were like, oh, I can't handle it. And I was like, well, I mean, how far did you get? Far enough. And I was like, well, there's a pretty good gag with this. And you were like, I didn't see that. And I was like, that's like 15 minutes in. You didn't get anywhere.
That's not true. I made
Sorry, it
it
was
way
like
more than 15
20 minutes
I
in.
made
You
like
didn't, like-
23 minutes in.
So you liked it.
Are we? Hold on. Are we doing Thankskilling and then Thankskilling 3?
Yeah,
or are
we'll
we
do-
just talking about all of it
No,
together?
let's talk about 1 and then let's talk about 2.
Okay, great. This
Three.
movie,
3. Well, 2 and 3.
This movie cost $3,500, not thousand.
Every penny's on the screen.
$100.
Yep.
Nothing's wasted.
Which that I think is impressive.
I was
like-
impressed.
It was that was impressive, and I will say that some of the bits are mildly funny. At no point was I guffawing or being like slapping my knee, but I thought there was a couple of good bits. It does not save the movie for me. I can see why this might be a cult classic.
Mm-hmm.
Like it might. I think this would be really fun if the three of us all got together and were watching it together. Maybe with alcohol involved, but like sitting there by myself watching it, I just would rather have been doing something else.
I don't think people enjoy or dislike this movie. I think you just survive this movie. And like when you survive something, you're made stronger from it.
Sure, yeah.
And you bond.
We
with
trauma
other
bond
survivors.
with
But
You trauma
but
bond.
we're
also
trauma bonding.
because of that strength, you could look back and be like, okay, that was a pretty good bit. It's really impressive what they did there, and I can't believe they got away with that. Like
What's it called when you're kidnapped?
Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. I experienced this thing, and I almost have a reverence for the trauma. Yeah. There's I think there were some genuinely funny bits in this movie that I did laugh at.
Okay.
I could spoil them.
I mean, listen. We're gonna spoil,
gonna
the
spoil
shit
the
out.
shit-
Don't.
yeah.
We're not. There's not gonna be a spoiler section. This is an open conversation about these two movies.
There's 2 parts in this movie. In this first, so the plot being
Yeah. What's the plot?
Okay,
spring
so-
break
Can't wait
or
to hear it.
Thanksgiving break. A bunch of college
Thanksgiving
friends
break.
just go.
College friends are going home.
505 every 505 years or something like that.
505 years, there's a turkey that was. There was a Native American tribe that was wronged by one of the families of one of the college kids.
Oh, and then they put a curse
and
on
they
the
put
turkey.
a curse on this turkey to come back every
That's right.
500 or so years and get revenge.
Yeah, so it's a blood. It's like blood libel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
And-
great.
Yeah. And so this turkey wakes up when a dog pees on his grave.
Not unlike Freddy Krueger.
I was getting ready to say,
Yeah.
I was going to say
But,
Nightmare 3
So
or Nightmare 4.
there's three gags I can count that I may have laughed out loud, probably didn't, but still like really thought was great.
laughed out loud.
One being when they were doing like the teens that are 45
Yeah.
were doing their research and they find a book.
Yeah.
It's a piece of cardboard with a cover on it.
Yeah.
And
Which they don't try to hide the fact.
no, there's close-ups of it, and I'm like, that's a fucking choice. You could have grabbed any book,
Yeah.
but no,
You made
I'm gonna
one.
make a book out of fucking cardboard.
That much cardboard.
It was, and it's like he's talking about like ancient rituals. I'm like,
He has to do an equation.
yeah, there's math in it.
There's math and a ritual.
So that to me,
the nerd
that
has to do it.
that was like a yes and gag, and I'm like, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a scene where the hillbilly dies and then his best friend dies later, and there is a prolonged musical number of them meeting and being best friends in heaven.
That never happened.
Oh my god,
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
that was amazing.
Yeah.
That was
That was
like
pretty funny, too.
Hey, let's do this. It's
Yeah.
funny. Like, and it was awesome. And
Most
then
of the bits, though, I was like, good bit.
Yeah.
Not like,
the one
I'm
that
laughing.
I laughed out loud at was when Turkey kills her father and then
And
wears
then
his
puts
face.
yeah.
And they
that's another
don't
good bit.
acknowledge
He's
it.
got a he's a
He fools them.
He's a and just
Listen.
It made me
it's
think.
It's a turkey puppet wearing a very tiny flesh mask. And the rest of it,
She's like,
full-size human.
"Dad," and
Yeah.
he gives him a hug.
holding
Yeah.
like hugging
she, like,
the
gets
pig
down on her
turkey.
knees to hug her father,
Yeah.
who's
But-
a turkey.
But that goes
That was
on.
funny.
That goes on for like 4 scenes
Yeah.
Yeah.
of him being in the man disguise or the sheriff disguise, and it was so fucking stupid. I was laughing. I was just like,
Yeah. I laughed at that, and I laughed at the bit right before that when the turkey knocks on the door at the house and the daughter
Oh.
isn't home yet. And so the dad answers, and he's in a turkey costume because he's got a costume contest later. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're waiting for my daughter. Why don't you come on in and sit at the table?" And then they just sit there in silence, like he's sitting in a turkey costume, and turkey's at the other end of the table with like those glasses with the nose on him because he's
Yeah.
in disguise.
Oh, that's right.
And they're drinking tea. And then the turkey goes like, "I'm not gonna lie, this is really fucking awkward. I'm gonna leave now." And then like he's about to walk out, and he's like, "What an odd little duck." And he's like, "That's it." And then he like murders him and takes his face. But like that bit, just sitting at the table in silence for an awkward amount of time.
I think, yeah, that's a
Love
good way to describe this movie. I think when it starts, it's painful.
No, I just
But they
remembered it
keep
better.
yes-anding and making the bits like even more ridiculous as it goes, that it starts to become kind of charming.
Wait, I might actually love this movie. I keep thinking about it.
there's a weird edgy charm to surviving this fucking movie, and it's like,
I just remembered the bit when we meet the dad. He's like,
there's shit. That's right. I laughed at this.
he's like, "God damn it, what'd you do? Shit in the coffee?" And she's like, "In fact, I did." And it's just a pile of shit.
in the coffee pot.
And she's like, "I want a divorce." And then he calls his daughter's like, "Your stepmom left me."
Oh no!
It's so
But
stupid.
yes, that is an yes and joke. Like, oh, this coffee tastes like shit. Like,
Did
oh,
you
that's because
actually
I shit in it, and I want a divorce. And he's just like, his response to his yes and to that was, huh? Keeps drinking it and talking like
Oh
that is it is it's like pure improv. It's fucking weird. Anyway, sorry.
Do I like this?
I think you do. I think you do. And you know what? It's okay. It's
I
survived.
love bad horror movies.
It has
I
survived.
love it.
14 years,
Yeah.
16 years.
There was one scene I didn't like at all.
Was it the rape?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
And also,
that's very
we
2008.
do get the F-bomb,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't love that.
some gay jokes, and then there's like a straight up rape.
Yeah.
And you could tell like it's a 4 years between these two
sorry.
movies.
Rape by a turkey, by the way.
Yeah.
Not an actual, just like
Yeah.
It's non-consensual.
non-consensual.
And they tried to make like
sex.
a joke about it after.
It's a switcheroo.
With the,
Which honestly
Yeah.
was very popular in comedy, like the entirety of the 90s and 80s.
Yeah.
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 like hijinks to fool a girl.
Whoops, you thought I was your boyfriend, but it was me, the nerd.
But you liked the sex so much that
Now
we're
you're my
friends.
girlfriend.
Yeah,
Like, oh.
that's wildly profitable. But I think the culture shifted so much in just those 4 years. The second movie does not have those kinds of like really weird, off-putting coded shit in it that the first one does.
So you love
Unless I'm
Thanksgilling.
forgetting something.
I don't
It's your
love.
movie of the year.
Yeah.
Your movie of 2008.
I want to thank everybody for making me watch this.
Yeah.
What would you rate it?
Shit.
How many
How many turkeys?
what are they called?
Giblets?
No, the
Is it a giblet or a giblet? It's a giblet.
the baskets.
what are you
the
doing?
baskets with
Cornucopia.
Cornucopia.
How many cornucopias? And if it's a half a cornucopia, it's not filled.
Yeah.
How many like
We're doing
5
5 cornucopias.
I'm going to give it 1.5 because I need to be able to go lower for the next one.
You don't know what I'm gonna do. Good.
Between 2.5 and a 3.
What? Holy shit.
I love bad movies. I know it's
I think it's okay. So
brought this up earlier with Twilight. I know it's bad. Did I enjoy it? Yeah.
2.87 cornucopias.
Okay.
Almost 3.
Okay. We're in the same.
Yeah. It's fucking terrible, but like a good terrible.
I'm
Charm to it. So bad it's good.
I just want to say you watched all of these in chunks. Both of these in chunks.
No, I watched Thankskilling 3 in one go.
What you
Until I
watched of
stopped.
it.
Didn't
in one go.
didn't finish
Finish
it.
it.
Though. You watched it in chunks too.
I watched the first one in one clip. The second one is chunked out over the course of like a week.
I watched both of these back to back last night.
Yeah, who's got Stockholm
So
syndrome?
I am very Stockholm syndrome right now. I'm trauma bonded
I
to
feel
this
like I
movie.
would be numb. Like I would just be emotionally numb.
There is I can't wait to talk about the next one. There is a numbness that happens to
Yeah.
where you're just like, okay,
I did
that-
zone out at one point.
that
and I'm like,
bisexual sentient worm is gyrating inside of that android's butthole. Right on. Let's go.
You missed that.
Yeah.
Did I?
You did.
I would say I missed it. So Thankskilling happened, and then Thankskilling 3 came out in 2012. That has a 29% Rotten Tomatoes score. Also directed by Jordan Downey, written by Jordan Downey, Michael W. Downey, and Kevin Stewart, starring Daniel Usage,
Sure.
Joe Hartzler, and Preston Altree. Foul-mouthed villain Turkey carves through the likes of a rapping grandma, a mindless puppet, a wig-wearing inventor, a bisexual space worm, and their equally ridiculous friends on his quest to recover the last copy of Thankskilling 2. So basically, the entire idea for this movie is the gag Spaceballs 3, The Search for Part 2. And they made a whole movie out of it.
That's a deep cut though. I don't think everyone remembers
So
that.
Spaceballs came out in the, was it the late 80s? 90s?
80s.
80s? And then they were always like, oh, they should make a sequel to Spaceballs. And they even, I think, were bouncing around the idea of doing Spaceballs 3, The Search for Part 2.
No, The Search for More Money.
The Search for More Money. Right. So yeah, it just, I couldn't make it through this movie. We had talked about it, and you said it definitely jumps budget wise, and it like looks great. And you described the beginning of this movie to me, and I was like, that sounds hilarious. And then I watched it, and I want to say 10 minutes in, I was just numb because, like you said, when something's at a 12 all the time.
Oh yeah.
It just numbs you. And that's where I was until I finally just gave up. And I made the conscious decision to just stop watching. I couldn't do it. When we got to the rapping granny puppet. Although I do like the puppets. The puppets were pretty fun.
I was going to say, I like
this is a
Granny
full
Puppet.
puppet movie. Flois, you mean?
Flois, yeah.
Lois that flows. She's a rapping granny.
Yeah.
I want to. We're in this.
Did you ever see
Let's.
Meet the Feebles?
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah.
Yeah.
and you didn't like that.
Ugh.
We like puppets.
I like puppets too.
Let's,
Red ones.
to the best of your recollection, I'm not going to look at my screen. Let's talk through the plot. All right. Okay. So it starts with
I gotta get my arms ready.
boobies in space, and it's kind of it's a feint. You're watching the scene from Thankskilling 2, and then it fades out, and
In space.
yeah, we see a barren desert and a big dump truck filled with copies of Thankskilling 2, and a bunch of people are taking it to the desert to bury and burn all copies of the worst movie that's ever existed.
Movie ever made. Yeah.
Turkey, who is at home with his family, his wife and his child.
We see Muff and the bisexual worm.
Muff and
are,
Rhonda. The
Rhonda.
bisexual worm,
Rhonda, the
Rhonda.
bisexual worm, are part of the hunt to make sure
Yes.
all these movies are
They
destroyed.
are from space.
They're actually from space.
hunting down all these copies of the movie, making sure they're all gone. One
I'm
slips
seeing
away.
the light leave JD's eyes as
But
we describe
the reason-
this movie.
Which we don't know yet, but we will find out later. The reason with which why they are trying to find all these copies of this movie is
He's running
because
away.
it's because Turkey, who is a supernatural demon being,
Yes.
has imbued all prints of the movie with a spell that will kill anyone that is watching them. Right?
Yeah. We don't know that yet, though.
We don't know that yet, but I'm letting you know so I don't lose you too quick.
Cut to
So-
sitcom.
Cut to sitcom setting. Turkey with his wife and his child that he hates, Nibbler.
Nibbler.
That's right. We don't need him.
Nibbler. Okay.
Nibbler.
We're talking to you now.
Yeah. He's gone. And then we meet Yomi. Yomi.
Naomi, who literally lost her mind.
She lost her, like she misplaced her mind.
Her brain left.
We also learn that
She's a puppet.
she's a puppet, an alien that puppets are molded after. She is like a sentient being who looks like a puppet, and all puppets you see now are because of that alien.
Yes.
Just so you know.
I clocked that. Yeah.
No, I'm letting him know.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
gone.
He's
He's
over
gone.
there.
He
Okay.
doesn't believe in anything.
All right. We're letting all you know.
So, Turkey has to find the last copy and play it. So,
He's also in the sitcom scenario. He sees it's his birthday. It's his 514th birthday,
yeah, that's right.
and yeah, he hates his kid and his wife. It's implied that he beats his wife.
Very much.
Is
She
it-
had bruises.
Funny, yeah, that was fucked up. And then when they're about to have, or no, they have cake. The mom throws up the cake.
Yeah.
Because that's how birds feed each other.
To Nibbler.
Anyway,
Give him cake.
that's the bit. And then he sees on the news that his
and-
movie's being destroyed.
That puppet goes from dry to wet in that scene. Okay.
Yes, yeah. He sees his movies being destroyed, found out that the wife knew about it, and was like, "Oh, I didn't want you to find out on your birthday." He murders her.
He chops her in
That
half.
was cool, actually.
Yeah.
That classic,
center.
like, blade right through the face, and you see the... That was cool. That was
Yeah.
So then he takes
Son
his-
sees it. Son wants to be evil like him. They go off.
they go off to find the last copy, which Yomi has
Yeah, because she woke up in a dumpster
without her mind.
without her mind.
Yeah. And started talking to a dumpster
And
monster.
cartoon cats.
Yeah.
Cartoon
Dying.
cats.
Trash.
And we're not even talking about yet Thanksgiving Land, which is I think where the movie really pops off.
Yeah, so she meets. Oh, we forgot to mention Nibbin's toy, the Pluckmaster 3000, which
Oh.
turns any live turkey straight into like a prepared cooked turkey, and it's invented
Plucks it,
by
cooks it.
Uncle Danny.
Who wears a Jefferson wig the whole
Jefferson
time.
wig the whole time. You see infomercials of him on the TV.
So he goes to he runs into Yomi.
Uncle Danny
Uncle Danny runs into Yomi.
in the
takes her
dumpster.
home because she doesn't know what Thanksgiving is, but she wants to find family.
She
Thanksgiving's
thinks-
all about family.
She sees a billboard of him that says the Pluckmaster will give you peace of mind, and she's like, "Oh, a piece of my mind."
Oh, he's also really surly because the Thanksgiving prior he lost his family
To wolves.
to wolves because he sent them out to go get Murphy's stuffing, and wolves
You
also
know
like
who else
Murphy's
loves
stuffing.
Murphy stuffing? Wolves. Yeah.
We're 20 minutes in. Let's go.
God damn it.
After that, yada
That's when we
yada.
meet Rapping Grandma and her son, who's also in a wig and has a
Long shaft.
long shaft, which
Long
is just
spear,
a
long
stick
shaft?
with a butter knife on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's an awful
He's
amount
security.
of screen time
Yeah.
dedicated to him turning on a light switch with that long staff,
Yeah.
and it's really fucking funny.
It was pretty funny.
It's like the
whole bit.
like the scene, the camera works with him and like goes back and forth of him just trying to turn on a light switch. Anyway, what are we?
They're trying to make Thanksgiving Land, which is Thanksgiving Land theme park with a gravy train and cranberry sauce roller coaster and mashed potato bumper cars.
About the seagull taxi.
Oh, the seagull taxi.
Turkey can't fly, so
he's-
he has to ride a seagull to Thanksgiving
Right,
Land
yes.
where they are. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
come on.
He, and then he pushes his son off of the seagull, kills his son,
Oh my God.
and then he sends his son's spirit to go to the DVD. So his son's spirit possesses this DVD, and that's how he's able to locate where the DVD is, which is Yomi in Thanksgiving Land.
That's
So
where he goes to Thanksgiving Land.
Turkey goes to Thanksgiving Land,
And then the
which is
DVD
just a house right now.
the actual physical DVD becomes a puppet, sentient puppet of the cover, and it's the little boy.
Can I also just say that the tagline in Space Nobody Can Hear You based was great on the DVD.
The movie gets weirder and weirder from there.
You don't have to keep explaining it.
There's Butthole Vortex.
There's Butthole Vortex. There's Turkey Hell,
There's Turkey Hell. We
which
go to
they
Turkey Hell.
put beaks on and disguise themselves to go into Turkey Hell to
that's
find.
Yomi and Rhonda, the bisexual worm.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's Turkey dies halfway through the movie.
Turkey dies and
I
is
think it's
brought back by other zombie turkeys who forget to put on his penis.
So he wears a chainsaw where that goes, and then
As you
kills
do.
Phlois, who is invited into heaven by her son.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite bits of the movies when every time people kept dying, he was like the person who greeted them at heaven was like, "Hi, mom, come join me." And like, but then even if he didn't know them, he would be inviting them, like, "Hey, come on. What's this guy's name? Mom, come join me." But he didn't like Yomi for some reason. He was very anti-Yomi, so there's a point where she almost dies. And they show a clip of him in heaven, and he's like, "No, I don't want you here. Like, you're not invited."
To escape, at that point, Uncle Danny,
Uncle Danny,
and Yomi with Nibbler, who is the DVD or Blu-ray,
and is now on their side.
and is now on their side because his father's evil. They escape to another dimension where the other turkey exists, who is like an old wizened kind of Gandalf turkey, and tells them that you need this wishbone to kill Turkey, and you'll know the right time, and blah blah blah. So they get out of that. Yada yada yada. A lot of things happen. The evil turkey,
Then a lot of things happen.
the evil turkey and the wizard turkey face off, but they do it in the style of an 8-bit
1993.
1993 video game, and it's actual cutscenes from a 1993 video game with text across the screen.
It was great.
At the
that
same
was
time.
a good bit.
There's so much
cool.
fucking going on in this movie.
Yeah.
And then that turns into, I think the only thing it doesn't have is a musical number. But then that turns into like a
Surprising to me, actually.
having to throw the DVD into the portal and yada yada.
Turkey
Everything
gets sucked
happens.
into the portal, and then Yomi realizes her mind's in the portal or something, and
So
she
she has to
also
go
gets
with-
sucked
yeah.
back. But then the bisexual worm stays with Uncle Danny, along with they repair Muff because Muff shot himself.
Yeah, Muff shot himself after he thought
He thought he killed Rhonda. They repair him together, and then they make Thanksgiving Land.
Mm-hmm.
Not the end of the movie.
Is that the end of the movie?
Yeah.
So, just watching the half hour that I
Nibbler.
watched.
Nibbler.
Not Nibbler. Nibbler. My
the
bad.
half hour that I watched, I was impressed with all of the different genres,
Oh yeah.
medium that it was using. The fact that there's like a sitcom set and canned laughter and all that sort of stuff. And very cool that they do the thing with like the 8-bit Nintendo
There's
thing.
like 4 rave sequences too.
Yeah.
Lots of like, I said there was no musical numbers, but there are like montages with like early to mid 2000s rave style music and
That-
like dark lighting and like
I
neon
kind of
and
like
stuff.
the score the turkey theme.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
got
love
that's a
the
pretty
turkey
good.
thing.
That's a pretty good theme.
Wait
They
till you
do
hear
that
it in 8-bit.
They do it 8-bit style. Yeah, it's
See, that's
so
fun.
good. Yeah.
But it's just all of this, like even just listening to you, it's too much. It's just too much happening at once, and I don't think none of it is funny to me. I did not laugh the whole first half hour of this movie.
I don't think I did either.
Did you?
The first
you
like
laugh?
that first chunk, I didn't start laughing until we got to like the Thanksgiving Land house, and then it was like this movie's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I started like kind of giggling, but it's the first movie's 72 minutes long or 75 minutes long.
Yeah.
This one's an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, this one's. Yeah.
So why?
It is digestible in 20-minute chunks over time. I'm sorry that you
or you
mainlined
just
it.
binge it
Yeah.
all in one night.
Because it almost functions as fucking episodes because like it's not even a 3-act movie. It's like a 6-act movie. Like it keeps yes-anding itself in the weirdest ways where you could literally just like, all right, I'm going to stop it here because they just entered Turkey Dimension. And I'm going to stop it here because they just got the DVD back. And like it's so episodic. It's weird.
Did you enjoy it?
I think I did.
Like
I enjoyed having this shared experience with Alice.
yeah, honestly.
Because we could totally make reference to this until we die, and they would all still be topical.
Yep. Yeah.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah.
You glad you watched it?
Yeah.
I think it's
Good for you
I think
guys.
it's 3.5 stars. Personally,
So wait, oh, you mean cornucopias?
3.5 cornucopias.
So Thanksgiving one was 1.5 cornucopias. This is a half a cornucopia for me.
You know what? That's an invalid
Okay, that's fine.
because you didn't watch it.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I tried so hard.
So zero.
I tried
It's
so
just
hard.
straight up
It's
zero. You don't.
I tried so hard to
I
stick
abstained
with
from
it.
grading.
Especially after finish Thanksgiving 1 and being like, oh, you know what? There's some good bits in there. Oh man, I bet Thanksgiving 3 is going to be even better. And then it just was so much worse.
Arguably, I think it is better.
I think it is better too.
Yeah.
So I got to give it 3.5. I think.
It's at 19 the whole time.
Yeah.
Just-
It's noise.
Yeah.
You got to take a break. But it's
Or you can just sit through it while you
there's-
fold your laundry like I did.
I deeply respect such brazen stupidity like this. I've always loved
I don't know why I love bad horror movies.
yeah
but I do.
trauma movies and this
Just,
kind
yeah,
of
I've
like
got
I fucking love this level
limit.
of stupidity.
you got a bottom limit.
But there's like the people that made these movies, they know how stupid it is.
Oh yeah.
And they're taking that stupidity seriously.
Yeah.
And there's something impressive about that. I would have kickstarted this if I knew
The
this.
amount of work alone, like
There's-
the amount of work that went into this whole production seems insane to me.
2 human actors.
Yeah.
And the rest are all puppets.
2. The rest are all puppets and
Animation.
animation, puppet animation and physical special effects, like practical special effects. Yeah, dude.
Seems like a really cool experiment. I just got no pleasure out of it.
Oh, there's also so in 2013, Jordan Downey developed because all the music in this movie is original music. There's a couple of like actual songs. They developed a musical,
Yeah.
and they put it up in New York,
Broadway.
Orlando, somewhere else. And it's all available on YouTube. They made the official bootleg available, and it's just
Amazing.
it's just an hour of recreating the first movie with song.
Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
No time wasted.
I was joking with Sushan where I was like, I'm going to print out a written apology that Noel will have to sign on air
Nope.
for making me do this.
I do not apologize at all.
As he yawns.
It's late. These movies took a lot out of me.
Oh, yeah, I can't do it. However, we should do, when Christmas time comes around, we should definitely do Jack Frost.
Okay. I don't remember having as much fun with that one.
Oh, I remember.
I need to see it
legitimately
again.
Laughing at some of it,
And
and it's like infinitely quotable. I really enjoyed that.
there's a lot of wonderful forgotten, like I guess we'll call them wet puppet wet puppet horror movies from the mid 80s to late 90s that you probably haven't seen, like Munchies, Jack Frost,
Ghoulies.
Ghoulies. Ghoulies is much more popular. I'm talking about the ones that like you only saw on like USA late at night, like the Critters ripoffs and the Trauma ones that weren't Toxic Avenger, and like there's a bunch of them out there, and I really like that subgenre of stupidity. There's an Psycho Gorman was like a modern one.
That's a fun one. Psycho Gorman. That's fun.
They made a new movie called Frankie Frico.
Yes.
That's out now, I think, on digital.
Okay.
Totally gonna watch the shit out of that.
I'm gonna try it out. I watched the trailer for it and I was like, oh, I don't know if this one is for me, but I'll try it out.
It looks amazing.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to say about Thankskilling and Thankskilling 3?
Perfect holiday viewing.
For the whole thing.
For which holiday?
Yes.
For
All of
Valentine's Day.
All Saints Day, President's Day, Valentine's Day, Easter, especially Easter.
He does rise again from the dead.
That's actually very
just
true.
like Jesus.
Yeah. Just like Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
These are if you know what you're in for. If any of this sounded stupid fun, just watch them. They're available on Tubi. You don't even have to pay for it.
Yeah, see, I feel like I would have been mad. No, maybe I would have been mad if I paid for it. I don't know. I'm starting to think I like it more than I realized.
Seem really into it.
Alice is like, guys, I think I'm in love.
Yeah.
Guys,
I'm going to have to break off my engagement.
this is my new Matthew Lillard obsession.
Coast is like online looking for turkey costumes. Yeah.
We have to spice things up.
No, not even that. She's just like, she said she wouldn't marry me unless I walked on the aisle in this.
Well, email us.
He used to have a turkey hat, and I was asking where it was so that I could wear it tonight. And I think he got rid of it, and I was like,
damn it.
I was like, how could you not foresee that I would need it for this? We've had it for years.
Yeah.
We've had it probably for as long as we've been together.
How did you not know that I would watch Thankskilling 1 and 3?
And
do a podcast on
need a hat for this occasion.
That's a Costa loss. That's a Costa miss.
Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. Let us know what you think of Thankskilling 1 and 3. And also maybe your favorite, like, underrated horror? Underrated wet puppet?
Yeah, or a seasonal watch. Like, is there a Thanksgiving watch? Not the Thanksgiving slasher movie. Like
no,
anything
or
else.
like
like
movie
Thanksgiving.
wise. Or yeah, I do like.
It's just in general. Like, is there something
What do
you
people
watch during
Thanksgiving?
Yeah, there's tons of.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, Chris
Yeah, that
said
is
last
true. They're
week.
Yeah.
for Thanksgiving. They're trying to get there.
Yeah, that's a fun one. So yeah, email us at cultpopgo. Do the whole thing. Like, subscribe, whatever. Don't watch these. Oh, maybe you know what? Maybe watch Thanksgilling 1.
Watch them both.
Enjoy it.
At the
Enjoy
same
Watch
it.
them
time.
both at the same time.
If you pushed play, you know what the fuck you're in for. Go for it. Enjoy it.
All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Oh wait, what's next week? Do we know?
I think we're
Gladiator?
gonna talk about both Gladiators. Gladiator 1 from 2001 and the newly released Gladiator 2.
Yeah. So join us for that. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and bye. I'm so empty.
Enjoy Thanksgiving.
Empty inside. I'm all.
I'm
done.
stuffed. Fade to black. Roll credits. Written, directed, and catered by Dylan.